This is the voice of Bold Business Radio, and I am your host, Jessica Dewell of Red Direction. You are listening to How to Build and Use Your Network. In this program, you are going to be introduced to Susan Finch again, and Tonya Dalhaus, and Julie Thenell. These three ladies I chose for this panel and invited to come on specifically because of their diverse outlook on the world, their different approaches to business, and how they use the network that they have built. And there is something in here for everyone. I have to admit, my favorite things that come out of how to build and use your network, which you will hear directly from Susan, Julie, and Tonya, are things like be willing to talk to anybody and smile, which is one of my favorite things. Lead by example, know who I am, what the business I am participating in does, and who I want to work with. Focus on reputation. This concept of understanding every action we take adds to or takes away from our own personal integrity. And we started out in this conversation actually about personal brands and how every single person is a personal brand, and that this is new since social media. And I would say, it's not new since social media. If you look back over time at the individuals that mentored you, the individuals that still mentor you, the ones that are now retired, the people that we look up to that they've written business books about, all of those people thought about, does their action support and enhance their mission and purpose here, or does it take away from that? And they chose accordingly. And then check our motivations. Why are we doing it? Are we doing it to be busy? Are we doing it to be productive? Are we doing it for success? Are we doing it for relationship building? And the thing is, when we're talking about networks, it's all of those things and elements of them. And we're going to dive into that with Tonya, Julie, and Susan. So I'm going to introduce each one of them to you right now, and then we'll jump right into the conversation. Susan Finch creates the most efficient use of your time regarding social media or helping you when you are too slammed to do it yourself. Her custom training videos are becoming more popular to teach your regular tasks to your staff to cut down on consulting time. She's been working a lot on custom WordPress sites and various CMS platforms. She's also assisted clients with Google+, email campaigns, online event strategies that round out their overall reach and maximize their effort. Tonya Dalhaus is an experienced speaker, networker, and relationship communications expert. Originally from New England, she moved to Colorado to pursue a master's in professional communication and alternative dispute resolution at the University of Denver. Her work as a sales manager, stand-up comedian, social service manager, ballroom dance instructor, and even court security guard has made her an expert on human nature, relationships, and networking. Through her many professions, she has used her skills to teach people about networking, interpersonal relationship communication, charisma, public speaking, and restorative justice. Presently, she uses her intuitive skills to help singles find a love online and offline through her business, The Dating Agent. Julie Thenell began her career over 35 years ago as a teacher of children with learning disabilities. Over time, she's earned her master's degree in reading education, served as a supportive reading teacher, taught processes writing at Wisconsin University. She started writing and editing in business with her husband for several startups. And eventually, she returned to the classroom to follow her passion for nutrition. No single event defines Julie today. Each event is what allows her to understand each transition, each moment, and each reinvention that affect us, whether it's a stressor or a relaxer that presents itself on a daily basis.
Welcome to the Voice of Bold Business, the show that provides everything smart leaders need to evaluate situations, build relationships, and create solutions. Jessica Dewell candidly talks about the skills necessary to build tenacity and do more with less. And now, here's Jessica.
All right, so here's the question. How do you take care of your brand and build your network to create opportunity?
I think this is a topic, and I think for women it is important that we learn from one another and share ideas with one another. So very quickly, I'm going to touch on 3 points. For me, my brand is very personal. I'm a sole proprietor consultant. I am the brand. I have to walk the talk for anything that I encourage my clients to participate in, any changes that I think I want them to make. Every time I present myself, I am presenting my brand. My nutrition practice is focused on the link between the nutrition, the foods we eat, and our stress response. So I need to be an example for my clients. Do my food choices help me stay balanced? You bet. When stressful situations arrive, how do I implement some of what I share with my clients and hope they will implement? So my role is to educate, to support people through that change of being very stress-based to making some lifestyle changes. So again, being that example for people is key. The other one is I have to be clear and consistent in what I share with people. With my focus on the link between stress and nutrition, I'm very clear that the people I want to work with are in that stress-induced cycle and that they are the people who really want to make some changes in life. I will assist in other nutrition, healthcare areas, but when things go beyond my scope, that's when I need to pare back and make a referral to someone else, because what I want to do is provide the best service that I can, and I can't be everything to all people. And third, I have to keep my brand growing. That means not necessarily adding new things to my practice, but it's the new learning more about what my business is all about, learning new research in the industry about stress and nutrition and what that does to our bodies. So for me, it is very personal. I am my brand. I need to be clear and consistent, constantly be learning in the field. I don't want to move too far out of my scope of practice. As I said, it will be making sure that I help people get the best care that they need.
All right, person in the middle, Susan.
And I got to start with the fact that it isn't just women that have a hard time doing this. It's just people. And I have to say a pet peeve in our house right now is everything, oh, women this. And if we substitute and put men in there, women get really pissed off. So I don't care about that. It's just people in general need to know how to market themselves. People that can speak and have opposable thumbs need to be able to market themselves. I think, though, with the advent of social media and how much now we are all being trained to engage and be out there, we are all our own brand. I don't care if I work for Marketo, if I work for Salesforce, I might not always. So at all times, whether I'm working for Coldwell Bank or Remax, it doesn't matter. We are still who we end up at the end of the whole cycle of this is a good fit for me. Now it's time to move on. Now it's time to start my own thing. Whether we're solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small business owners, enterprise solution CEOs, it's still our brand. And you're absolutely right, Julie. It's about our reputations and doing the best we can, because if we do something halfway or give bad service because we try to take on too much and wear too many hats, it only hurts our personal brand and our reputations. How do I build and protect my brand? That exact thing I bring on. For me, I've been able to expand a few team members, and I make sure that they can represent me and be trusted, and that I've trained them properly to be not only my brand, but the clients we represent, because we have to be their brands as well. It's being thoughtful. It's not making decisions after I've tequila shots or something. It's making very conscious decisions long-term and checking my motivation for whatever it is I want to do to promote myself, promote my brand, promote my companies that I work with. Because when I speak for them, I am their brand. And I truly try and come from what's going to benefit this company, what's going to make them look good, what do I have to be careful of. And most of the time, I find if I have to think about it too much, I don't post it for anybody. So it's using restraint, logic, and checking my motives. Those are the first things I check before I expand my brand. Now, your other part of that question, though, was how do I build my network to create opportunities? Everything can be my network. So the key is to not only, hey, I want to connect with you, but to follow up later. You're just collecting bodies if all you do is follow, connect, but you don't go back later and check on them or share their stuff or see what they're doing or make comments when it's their anniversary, they've added a position, they've changed their positions, whatever. That's how to continue to build that network. If I see an article and weird things, Jess, you know this, I'll send you things like, this made me think of you guys. And I just will post those types of things, but that's what continues to build that, and it builds my value to people, whether it's humorous, informative, or some kind of free training tidbit that I'm willing to give away, or a combination of them all. So I think that's the best way, at least that I continue to build my network. I say yes to things too. You asked me to do this show, I say yes. I don't know who I'm going to meet or who our show is going to meet. or what wonderful nuggets one of us will say that can be shared later and bring the attention back to one of the four of us. So I don't know where that's going to lead. Last week I spoke at the NRBA conference. I had a 3-hour session teaching them how to use education as a marketing tool to not only build value, but to build their reputation and their integrity online. So that was a huge part, and that I believe very strongly in giving knowledge away rather than withholding it to be the gatekeeper. And I'm not going to tell you how, because then you won't need me. You're of value because you're confident enough to share it. So, okay, my 2 minutes are up. Go ahead.
Tonya here with opposable thumbs. I totally agree with Julie and Susan. I think the most important thing that people don't recognize when you're talking about protecting your brand is that you are, or your affiliates are, the face of your brand, and you always have to put your best foot forward. I always make sure I look professional when I leave the house. I don't wear any t-shirts that have appropriate logos. And I mean, because you have to think about those things. You don't want people to get the wrong impression. And a lot of times people don't recognize, especially with how social media has become a main place for us to really promote ourselves, that your private Facebook page and your public Facebook page are really the same. You can't post things on your private page and expect that it's not going to affect your brand later on. Staying away from political topics, staying away from pictures of you out drinking that tequila. Try to remember that whatever you're putting out there in the world is going to affect your business and how people perceive you. I actually had a really funny thing that happened to us last night. We're driving down in Denver, and a Domino's car delivery guy drives up next to us with the big Domino's logo on the front of the car. And he has a bumper sticker on the back that says, "My other ride is your mother."
Oh, did you take a picture of that lesson?
I'm sure Domino's must be so proud. I'm a stand-up comedian. The first thing I thought was like, what did she ask for, extra sausage with her pizza? Like, what's that all about, right? No, I mean,
exactly.
Totally, like, So anyways, yes, protect your brand. Always put your best foot forward, and make sure, like Susan was saying, your affiliates are also going to protect your brand as well, and not put bumper stickers on the back of their vehicles that might be. So in terms of networking, the best thing you do, again, is always put your best foot forward and be willing to talk to anybody. There's a lot of truth in 6 degrees of separation. And you should be willing to talk to anybody out there, whether they're the cleaning guy or the CEO, because those people have connections to other people that might be able to help you later on down the road. And I think a lot of times I've had experiences at network events where people will come up to you and be like, "Are you the owner of such and such business?" And when you say no, they're just like, "Fine, I'm done with you." And they go on their way. And I could be connected to anybody. I mean, LinkedIn has shown that. Their whole premise is trying to show that people are connected to people who are connected to other, So make sure that you are willing to talk to anybody and be honest about what it is that you can do. Don't try and make up stories or try and show that you're more confident in something that you're not. Just be honest. I think the most important thing that people miss in a networking situation is that building relationships with somebody is more important than throwing that elevator speech and getting your business card shoved in their hand. I don't try not to give my business card to people unless they absolutely beg me for it. And I'm very selective on who gets that information, because that's building quality relationships with people. I always come in with the attitude that I'm going to help you first. So you want to go in that, how can I help you, rather than you need to help me find these things that I need. And so many times you go to a networking event and the first thing somebody does is shove their business card in your hand. "I'm a marketing person and I can help market your business." And you're like, "Really? Well, what is my business?" "Well, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I can help you." And there's nothing more annoying than feeling like you're in a used car dealership at a networking event, right? Mm-hmm. So making sure that your first questions are like, "Hey, what do you do? How can I help you? What is it that you're looking for today?" And when people ask you that, you need to also know what it is that you're looking for and a need that you have so that you can respond appropriately. I think one of the things that I also really try and teach when I talk about networking is trying to ask questions that are not necessarily business related at a networking event. So rather than just focusing on your business, focus on building relationships, like asking them, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Or if you had to give all your money to a charity, which charity would it be and why? Try and start to build those more close relationships, because then later down the road, people are more willing to help you. So that's what I would say about networking and building networks.
For me, that brings up that concept of playing the host. At a networking event, I'm not there necessarily about me and what business can I find, but how can I connect people in the room? I think that goes a long way to letting people know how we work, how we operate. It isn't all about what I can find for myself at that event.
I will bring up, though, that one of the differences I have noticed, women at networking, you brought it perfectly, being the host. Women, you do this more than men. And this is just my experience. It doesn't mean you are mom and supposed to be cleaning crap up.
Such a good point. I actually got told, one of my mentors early on, quit picking stuff up off the table. If it falls off your plate, you leave it. You are not the waitstaff here. But it's innate in us. We walk around and we pick
It's innate, but we have to fight it.
Right? And you're right. We do. We have to stop that.
The men don't do it. They just, do not clean up. You can be the host as far as engaging and connecting. That's a beautiful way to be the host. Mm-hmm. But don't take it that next level. It isn't a cocktail party. You're not cleaning stuff up.
I am your host, Jessica Dewell, and you are listening to thevoiceofboldbusiness.com, how to build and use your network. Susan, you have started this conversation. So what are things that women do differently that either helps them or hurts them when it comes to building their network and going to networking events?
I had this conversation with Marianne Vanilla, the Vanilla Group, and some huge mistakes that women make that men don't. They wear big flowers on their clothes. They wear big things that soften their presentation, that soften themselves. That's great. That looks good, but that's for a different event. Tonya, same thing. I don't leave the house without being willing to be photographed on CNN. I don't care if it's a casual thing. I'm still put together. I'm not going to look like crud.
One of the first things Susan said to me is, I never leave my house without lipstick. It's true. Yeah.
I don't leave my bathroom in the morning without my teeth brushed and lipstick. Because my kids won't talk to me if we have that gangly morning breath coming at them. Mm-hmm. We all brush our teeth before we even eat breakfast, and then we brush them again. I'm ready. That is one of the big things, and asking permission too much, apologizing too much.
Yes, that's
these are typical women things that most men, there are exceptions because I've met those too, the ones that kind of shrink in the corner and that have not developed any confidence, nor have they ever been trained at home how to behave socially. And that's one of the things we're all missing now, because I watch these young CEOs coming up, men and women, their startup companies and stuff. They have never been taught how to eat properly at a business meal, how to attend a stand-up cocktail party with pass-arounds, where the limits are. Nobody has taught them how to make proper conversation, eye contact, shake hands properly. And that's actually more of the men than the women, because they are more apt to have more of the startups, the bigger startups, that would be more exposed to these types of things. And the personal appearance, it's like, oh, good gravy, guys. Good for you for starting up, but you need some help. Women are a little bit better at that usually because they're used to performing more. Not just for men, for women too, and for themselves. They like to look good. We usually take more pride in that outwardly. I want to look in the mirror and go, hot. Somebody wants me around today because I'm feeling really spicy. And that's good. But what we tend to do, though, is anytime we make a statement, it always has that upspeak at the end.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Has the upspeak, the question, where you don't sound confident in anything. We could do it on Twitter. We could have a really great podcast. Go ahead, Julie. Sorry.
That is generational. How much do you believe?
I hear women in their 50s. It's 50s and 60s. I hear them doing it. Not as much. You're right. It is more generational. Mm-hmm. But I also hear it from a lot of women that are just now starting to come out from behind working for others to being out. Nobody noticed that they did it before. And nobody's broken them of the habit.
Thinking about generational or not, but is that feminine way of encouraging feedback, that need for external.
I don't think so. I think it's my experience where I see it most is the self-confidence thing.
Okay, self-confidence. What do you guys think, Tonya and Julie?
I wanted to just quickly get back to something else that Susan said about people not showing up into sort of a dining situation or a social situation with proper etiquette or understanding how that works. And hang on, I got to do a text in a minute. Yeah, just let me finish this 1 minute. I mean, that's what we see, right? Phones need to go away. Phones should not be part of a social networking situation or part of a dinner that's a sit-down business dinner. Just turn them off and put them away, because that's how you build relationships. You can't build relationship with an iPhone standing in front of your face. And that's a huge problem that I see. I think that people have become so reliant on those kind of technologies that has also dampened the self-confidence. Mm-hmm. I was listening to a show the other day that was saying that getting a text message actually increases the endorphins in your brain that are the same ones that you get when you have like an orgasm. Yeah. So, you sit there and you just wait for that text. Oh God, I got to feel good again. And you don't pay attention to anything else going. Actually, the fact that you could actually maybe get a real date if you were at a social networking event and have real feelings instead
put the phone away, you could get a real orgasm.
Put the darn phone away.
Okay, Julie, you were going to jump in.
So I do think there is a confidence level that as women, and particularly women being in business and how it is a competition with men, finding our place in that space and then being able to stand behind what we believe in and present ourselves as confident business people, that takes practice. I don't think it comes naturally because of our inherent femaleness, but I think we're all making those strides. I would love to see perhaps more training for young women and young men in the business world because of what I see as a presence. Sometimes I think, well, maybe that's just my gray hair and my old schoolness. But in reality, I do believe that there are standards that we want to meet when we're in the business setting. The more laid back, lackadaisical I call, just doesn't have its place in my world.
What strengths do you think women underutilize the most when it comes to not only building their network, but actually turning around and using that network also?
It's a sense of community, I believe, that we can build, a sense of compassion that we can bring to the table when it comes to business ideas, how teams perform.
Tonya, you had some good input.
I was just going to say, my master's is in professional communications, and one of the things that we looked at was Deborah Tannen's work. I don't know if you're familiar, but she talks a lot about the difference between how men and women communicate. And one thing that women have innately is this ability of doing rapport talk. They already know how to build relationships from an emotional level, whereas men do report talk, which is much more factual and intellectual, and they don't know how to bridge that sort of emotional gap and get in there and make meaningful, deeper relationships. So women just need to tap into that and do what they do naturally and not try and squelch that. I think that a lot of women feel like, oh, if I try and build relationships and I try and reach into an emotional level, people won't take me seriously as a business professional. And I would completely disagree. I'm somebody who's had a lot of success. I've worked in a lot of fields that were male dominated, including being a stand-up comedian. And I'm able to show up sort of with masculine and feminine energy, and it has served me well. But don't shy away from that feminine energy. And by the way, I am wearing flowers, Susan.
You know what's funny is
flowers and lace. Flowers
and lace. That's almost wore a unicorn t-shirt, and the unicorn was pooping glitter. It's all in our own.
To add to that, let's not forget about tapping into our feminine side, but let's also not forget to tap into our masculine side, because we have that side as well.
I'm sure you have something to say about this.
I always have something to say.
I was going to say.
I think we need to bring more of is some lightness. And you can think women team up all you want, but women are vicious to each other. And men are a lot more that frat boy kind of thing where they're just tossing each other business all the time. The most successful women CEOs I know do the same thing. They've lost that insecurity that they have to be catty. They lost the mean girls aspect. And they've grown up. They've put on the big girl panties and said, enough. I can hang with them. I can lift weights. I can do this. I can do. There is no separation except by choice. I truly believe that. I truly believe if a woman is crutching on that glass ceiling, shut up. Work harder. Stand up. Be noticed. Be the one who is in the room with confidence. And I'm trying to really hold back right here because it's almost a conversation every night at dinner. My kids just mock the heck out of anything that is just women. Crud. We can't wait till National Men's Day. We are fussing over it all over the place, and we don't care how many feminists we piss off. I've just had it, and using that as a crutch. People have used race as a crutch. They've used economic. Stand up. Make yourself better. You don't like your results? Change. You don't like how it is? Stop blaming. God darn it. Take some responsibility for your piece in it and choose to look up, learn, research, take coaching, watch things that are free. I don't care, but you can change it. Stop blaming others for your lack of success.
That's true. It's all excuses.
Fist pump to you, my friend.
Oh, man.
Okay, and it's great to have those labels, and it's great to identify with different groups until it becomes the reason, as Susan said, for a lack of success. And that's all in our own heads. And this goes back to everybody with opposable thumbs can fall victim. But for some reason, women tend to fall into this camp of, I don't have my voice, nobody listens to me, it's not my fault, I'm trying to do the best I can. I was listening to a Tony Robbins podcast from September, and the lady who was on, I'll link to it. I'll find the exact link and I'll link to it. She wanted to do triathlons, and she really wanted to do Ironman, and she couldn't qualify for the Ironman here in Boulder every year. And it turns out she had her own limiting beliefs. She thought she was doing the right things. She followed some prescribed thing that she knew was going to get her there, and she kept falling short. She found a different coach, and this coach broke everything she thought she knew about herself and really made her look in the mirror. And Susan, you said something really important about get a coach, find a mentor, get somebody that can be real. And it's also hard to find somebody that will be real with us and let us know, dude, you chew a little too loud. Or, hey, have you thought about the fact that when you wear that, you never get any business, but you get a lot of attention? Those are the types of things that I think really can be confusing. It's just from a lack of knowledge. So my question would be, what are your tips to ask for what we want?
When I want something, I just ask for it. I mean, that's what you do.
So you're already there. So did you always ask, or did you have to overcome that fear?
I feel like I have probably asked, but I've always had a lot more masculine energy than feminine energy growing up. So there's not a lot of fear about asking. I think in relationships, if you want to talk about personal relationships for a minute rather than sort of business relationships, and I mean romantic relationships. Yeah.
Well, and I think
it's harder for women to ask for what they want in a romantic relationship because culturally we were raised in this society where we were supposed to be submissive and we were supposed to be at home making sure that our man was kept for, and that's now changed. I can see Susan making faces. But I think the most important thing I learned about being in a sort of romantic relationship, and now I apply that to my business relationship, is not being afraid to sit back and let things come to me. And I don't mean that sitting at home hoping that somebody's going to come and buy my services. That's not what I'm talking about. But being confident enough that if I put myself out there in the world, the people are going to want me enough to come find me and to come after me. I'm a matchmaker, so that's what I do, which is why I've had to pull in the romantic relationship aspect. Okay. But being able to really sit back and let a guy pursue me because I was confident enough to be like, I'm worth pursuing, is why I'm now married. All the relationships before that, I did what a lot of women do, which is chase the guy because I'm so desperate and I'm needy and I have to have him like me. And once you can let go of that and be confident enough in yourself to be like, you know what? If you're going to like me, then you're going to have to earn it. then everything fell into place. And the same thing goes with businesses, I think. You have to be confident enough to show up that people are like, man, there's something that she has and I want it.
It's also being clear, being thoughtful enough to be clear about what you're asking for. I think one of the troubles I've run into over time is, well, I think this is what I want, and I think this is what I'm asking for. When in reality, if I spend some personal time getting clear about what I truly want, then it's easier to make that ask. Then it's better received as well. It's not confusing to others.
Okay, that's a skill that I'm practicing right now. People are always like, tell me how I can help you. And I start talking and they don't know what I need from them. And I'm like, why can't you get into my brain? I'm trying. You're offering. I want it. That's a first step. When you always say yes, when you always offer, can I actually meet you there and say, yes, I've got something. And it goes on and on and on and on, and it's unclear. So I totally understand, Julie, and that's something I get to work on.
My husband watched me go through my divorce, and he saw the flaws on both sides. He was an observer, as were many people. They were privy to that all audience for that. Like, oh. Anyway, before he and I, he wanted to commit with me, he assigned me a book to read.
Okay.
I had to read The Assertive Woman. Book from the I think it's like 70s, early 80s. Whatever it was, though, it's still valid. I would add a couple more to that bookshelf for people in relationships. The seven love languages. Okay, fine. But the seven, languages to
the seven love languages. Yeah.
But it's the one for the workplace too, though.
Yes. It's the same guy, and he's got one
for the workplace. And having that and a couple others under my belt would have put me in a lot better stead. But I also recognized I had to be willing to want to be better and to improve it. And my daughter complained about something yesterday. Oh, your dad didn't take care of the insurance thing from the auto insurance that they tagged on that we didn't ask for. So did you ask him to do that? I said, well, yeah. I said, hey, that's still on there. Can you get that done? She says, no, did you say, hey, Tom, will you please call the insurance company and get that handled for the auto rental? Well, no. She said, what have you taught me? With men, there is no hinting, sliding around, skating around. You have to be so direct and precise. And it's not that they want to oppose you. They just want to get it wrong. So they wait until the direct thing comes at them. Women are so used to fishing for compliments and fishing for things that they'll kind of weed through it. Did you mean this? Is that what you meant? Or did you mean that? But men don't bother asking. They just wait for the direct order, listen once, and do that. So there is that difference, and that's a communication thing, and they're bad habits that we have. I was not raised in a household where we serve the man, blah, blah, blah. But I was raised in a manipulative household where the women were never direct. And my sister to this day, I love you, honey, but it's something that we both have to fight and work on. It's that being direct. And it's sad because it's hard to watch people that are unable to do that and then be disappointed every time they don't get what they're hoping for. It's like, babe, you've got to ask directly. We don't know what you want. We know you're not happy, but we don't know what you want. So I think that's one of the bigger differences. I see younger men doing this, live in their mom's basement kind of gamer guys. They, again, don't have the social skills, and they've been coddled, and mama does everything for them still. Those men have never had to be men. I don't care which bathroom you go in. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they have not been told to rise up and be direct.
Exactly. Women don't have enough role models to do the same, and they are out there. They are out there, and each one of you three are one of them. So everybody that's watching and listening, know these people. Go out and connect with Susan and Tonya and Julie, because they have very smart things to say. They are very direct, and they are helpful, and they want to help. All you have to do is ask. I think I want to wrap up with this. What each one of you has brought to this show today, and came out in a variety of ways in your answers, is this concept of modeling, leading by example. So we have only gotten to hang out with you for a finite period of time. So what is one thing that you either emulate to the world, or you really find attractive in a man or a woman that you interact with on a business level around they do what they say they're going to do? They lead by example.
I think the takeaway and the thing that I find most attractive in any person, whether it's personally or in business or people I want to emulate, are the ones that take responsibility for their actions. And then it's like, okay, hit that bump in the road, divert, move on, succeed. That's my takeaway. Find those people, be that person.
When I make a connection, I appreciate the follow-up, something that happens afterward, whether it's a thank you note, nice to meet you, someone else I want you to meet, some way of keeping that connection going. It's something that I try to do with clients, potential clients, people I meet, brief passing even of someone I meet at the airport. If we've exchanged a business card, it's reaching out at some point to let them know that that interaction affected me in some way. I gained something from it. And then being very direct. I don't like to be the person who is wishy-washy in my answer. I don't think I am. If someone doesn't want my service, I would appreciate that someone say, no, it doesn't work for me. But don't leave me hanging.
I think for me, the most important thing is the relationship building piece. And for me, that starts with a smile. And I think smiling is one of the most important things you can do. I smile at people all day, no matter where I am. I can be walking down the street, walking through Walmart, and I just smile at everybody. And that has actually started more relationships with total strangers in strange situations. Just the smile. And all of a sudden people want to talk to you because not enough people smile at you these days. They're too much, again, in their cell phones or busy or whatever they're doing. They're intent on getting to someplace. But smiling at people is the most important thing that you can do to try and get those relationships started.
Because that smile is about acceptance. Without even knowing them yet, you have accepted that you're willing to explore. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
You are listening to the voice of boldbusiness.com, how to build and use your network. You will find program notes at thevoiceofboldbusiness.com/P44. That's program 44, or search online for how to build and use your network. Make sure and subscribe to this radio show and rate The Voice of Bold Business on your preferred listening platform. Share your story and experiences to add to this conversation of what it means to be a leader today. Building and using a network is a must. Not forgetting anybody is a must. Cultivating relationships is a must. So we want to know what your success secrets are so that we may learn from you. What is your tip to build and use your network?
Subscribe at thevoiceofboldbusiness.com and get more information, program notes, and past episodes. Bold leaders approach each situation and focus on action to achieve a higher level of leadership. Jessica Dewell, your business advocate, is the host of the Voice of Bold Business Radio. Thank you for joining us.